So the first application is from the Chamber of Commerce for their annual downtown tree lighting, December 2nd. Next is the city's annual trunk or treat event. As a sidebar, we need cars for that event, so right now we only have 7, we need a lot more. So,
Total, you only have 7.
yeah, signed up, so please, any cars be appreciated. Next is the meal kit giveaway on October 28th. Free haircuts for the homeless on October 22nd in Greenwood Park. And the Jersey Shore Rescue Mission, their annual cold giveaway on November 18th. Are there any questions?
So could you tell us who's sponsoring the meal kit giveaway?
That's the city, Department of Community Development.
Great, and what about the free haircuts?
Yeah, that's the police department in conjunction with our social service department as well as the county.
Okay, great, thank you.
And you'll notify the schools for the meal kit, I'm sure.
Yes, we will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're now on to matters from city council. Councilmember Rose Anderson.
Nothing for me.
Thank you. Councilmember Chapman.
So just to follow up on Misha's comment, the city is collecting candy donations for Trunk or Treat. Also, if anybody has a vehicle they'd like to participate, we park them out here in City Hall parking lot and fill up the trunks with candy, and the children of our community get to walk through and be given candy for trick or treat. So I hope some of you will participate.
Thank you. Councilmember Blake. Nothing. Thank you. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Nothing. Mayor Moore.
Nothing, thank you.
Excuse me, I do have something
Go
else.
ahead. Yeah.
Forgive me. On the 17th, which is a Tuesday, from 12 to 2, here, the senior tax freeze workshop will be offered. So there is a number on our website, also in the newsletter that you receive. You do need to call, make an appointment. That's all, thank you.
Thank you. Matters from city manager.
Nothing, you said.
Thank you. Matters from city attorney.
Nothing at this time.
We're now on public participation. I motion to open the meeting to the public.
Move it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public participation portion is now open. Any member of the public who wishes to speak, please use the microphone. State your name and address for the record. There will be a 3-minute time limit for each speaker. Again, your name and address.
Microphone.
You have to go back.
Oh.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Nancy Paulson. I'm actually a resident of Neptune, not Asbury Park. But I've been following Asbury Park for years. Mr. Mayor, I've left several messages with you. I've been trying to meet with you for weeks and weeks and weeks, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to talk to you, Mayor, about all the crimes, all the killings, all the shootings that's going on in Asbury Park, right underneath those brand new cameras that's installed all over Asbury Park. But yet not one crime is being solved, Mr. Mayor. You got all these cameras up and down Asbury Park, but not one crime is being solved, Mayor. I wanted to talk to you, Mayor, about the Housing Authority and how they robbed the community for $2.3 million, Mr. Mayor. Are you aware of that? Are you aware that the Asbury Park Housing Authority just purchased 7 personal cars? Are you aware of that? Are you aware that the Asbury Park High School cannot pass its basic skills? Are you aware of that? No. You sit in your office and you are oblivious. You are oblivious to the fact that downstairs, the police department just got sued for $1.2 million for racism. Are you aware of that? Are you aware that 4 more police officers filed complaints about racism downstairs? Do you ever leave your office or do you just sit there? You don't return calls. Rumor has it that you're a drunk. And you don't care about the town. If it's not about those $1 million condos, you don't care. How the flying heck do you have to pay for parking a meter just to talk to you? Are you that important? No, you're not. And on that note, Mayor, I'm leaving because I refuse to believe that you're that oblivious. Either you're just stupid or you don't care about the town. The town is constantly being robbed. That's why the state of New Jersey don't want to give y'all money, because every time they do, you rob the community. What are y'all doing with the money? Lock these people up. $2.3 million, somebody should be in prison right now. But no, they clock it and they got a job tomorrow. But do you care? No. As long as it's not about the $1 million condos, you can care less. Have a good day, Mr. Mayor. Next.
Well, thank you, and I have to reply. And, number one, I do not have an office. Number two, I have business cards with my home phone number on it.
I need one.
My city phone, I'll give you one, it's no problem. I did get a message, I'm gonna say 3 weeks ago from you, one message saying that you wanted to talk about crime going on, and I said, I think that's a better conversation for you to have with either the city manager or the police chief. And I know the police reached out and talked to you. And
I didn't ask to speak to them. I'm going to speak to you
okay, your time
personally.
is up, ma'am.
This is your town, not the police.
Your time is up, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
In our form of government, I cannot answer for the police, I cannot even ask the police questions, so that's why I suggest.
This is your town. You run
If
this
you're
town.
gonna keep on interrupting, I'm gonna ask the police officer to take you outside, just because I'm trying to answer your questions, but ma'am, you spoke, you said you were done. You hit me with some stupid comments, in my opinion.
Stupid?
You
Being robbed for $2.3 million is stupid?
Okay, you have to leave.
Okay. You heard me said America because I am on live and I have 12,000 followers. But everything you said, I was stupid. I told you America on there. I told y'all. You heard it with your own ears.
Do you want my business card so you can call me?
Sure. I mean, I got it before from the fire department. There was complaining that, outside of the building, the fire department, I beat them down. I just lost it. Thanks again.
Thank you, and everybody in this room will tell you I return phone calls.
You didn't call mine. You said you didn't call me. You just told everybody you didn't return my call. You gave it to the captain. See how he lied? He can't even keep his lies straight. Like, this is the mayor. Y'all heard him in action. Y'all heard him in action. Comfortable. Y'all heard him in action.
Read it again.
Well, I have a point too, as you know. I heard we had a Shade Tree Commission meeting. Well, that's wonderful. And they talked about the bushes that we were always talking about. But how come I didn't know about it and neither did the neighbor next door? Because we're involved with it. But how do you have a meeting and talk about it and not have the people that are complaining and the ones that have it at that meeting? That wasn't fair. I don't know what's going on here. All it takes is a phone call to say they're having a meeting. I don't look on the web. I'm sorry. There's too many pages to look at. But I would have came to that meeting because it involves me. And I think that at least we should have got a courtesy call. I don't know about Reggie. I don't even think she knows about it. But how do you do things like that? And then I reread the shade tree thing again, once more. I know it by heart now. And on every single rule, it says by consent of council. You have to give your consent to the commission. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the commission has all the authority to come in and tell a private taxpayer that their hedges are on public property. Well, you were fast to take down all the signs on public property. That happened immediately. So why can't, this is 5 years, we're talking about 2018. It's 5 years since we started this conversation. It's not fair that we don't know about it. Then she said the same thing. She said, the planner said, and she should be at a meeting too. She said they come down to 30 inches. Well, what is she talking about? She talked like that a year ago. And here it is another year, and I'm getting too old. I want to see it done. I mean, I don't understand how do you have a meeting and the people involved aren't even there? That's not fair. And I don't want to blame one person for this, but that planner, I wish you'd have her here some night so I could talk to her. I'd love to talk to her, but you can't get her on the phone. And the zoning officer, I don't know too much about her, but she can't see everything from her office. She has to get out on the street. And I heard she was on our street recently. I don't know what she was doing, but she was there. There's lots of things that are wrong. There's all these people on public property. It's not right. And I'm lucky we never had an accident going out of our driveway.
Okay, Rita, your time's up, and Donna or Amy, because I'm
Oh, okay.
on the Shade Tree Commission.
So what do you think about
I
that?
can start, maybe Fred can clean up anything I say that's wrong. So Rita, we had a shade tree meeting, I'm assuming they advertised it, I don't know that anyone got a courtesy call, I'll apologize for that. I'll apologize for that I'm sure Reggie didn't get one either. We had members of the public there, Werner was there. I mean, we had several members of the public at that meeting. It was about 90 minutes. We also had Fred advising the shade tree on what our legal responsibility is. We had Michelle giving her opinion and interpretation of the ordinance. I just want to be really clear. The shade tree likes to plant gardens and put up some trees. We are not normally tasked with, enforcement or, making a policy determination on right of way. Having said that, we took 9 minutes, we read the 3 different ordinances, the state and the local, and we had a vote on the shrubs that you're talking about, that they would be reduced in size to what our engineer and transportation planner thought was safe. That was the end result of the shade tree meeting. I will take responsibility as a member of the shade tree. In retrospect, yes, we probably should have personally called you and Reggie. I don't think we called anyone. We just did a public notice and had the meeting. Did I say anything wrong, Fred?
No, you are 100%.
No, but that wasn't a regular meeting. I mean, we know when council meetings are. We know when
Rita, because of the time limit,
Okay.
raise a concern, you can call tomorrow and talk to the city manager, the planner, the zoner. As far as asking them to come here directly with you, maybe a meeting can be set up during work hours with you and the people involved.
I'm going to say one last thing, Rita, that is going to be a report by the engineer memorializing their decision based on what the shade tree requested. Is that
What about
the
what
correct
we
statement?
request?
Well, I mean, we obviously know your position and Reggie's position. It was laid out in the adversarial nature of the complaint.
Oh, wait a minute. Are you
So what-
abiding by the law? That's not the law. The law says that you have public property and nobody should be on it. That's the law. No? Maybe not in Asbury, but every place else.
The law leaves the determination as to shade trees and other shrubbery that are within the right of way to be subject to the discretion of the Shade Tree Commission. The Shade Tree Commission is vested with the exclusive authority to allow planting, required trimming, and they basically have control over ornamental shade trees and other shrubbery that's within the right of way. And this particular hedge is within the right of way. The Shade Tree Commission at that meeting considered the hedge, and a determination, as the deputy mayor indicated, was made by the Shade Tree Commission to require the next door neighbors to trim the hedge to a height that is to be determined in furtherance of public safety by the engineer and the transportation manager and the planner, many of the 3 of them, to ensure public safety.
And who's going to tell them? You?
Well, no, it's based upon their expertise and ensuring basically turning radius, sight, and whatnot with coming into and out of the driveway, and the trimming is to be in accordance with public safety.
Next.
Hello, I've never done this before. So bear with me. My name is Jill Occhipinti, and I live at 300 Emery Street, the Steinbeck Building, a Sacramento property. And my neighbors who are here, just make yourselves, thank you. We're here to, we understand the red leveling ordinance was being presented, and we'd like to speak on that a bit. We understand the complexities and the legality of the fact that the Steinbeck building, Sacman has applied for and was granted an exemption. However, is there no cap? I don't know if anyone's willing to just sort of yell out what percentage your rents were raised this year.
23%.
27.
And they were 15%.
17.
25.
Okay, one at a time, please.
32%, I heard 23%, 20, is there no cap? Can the city get involved in any way, just because they legally can? Is that they can run rampant over our people we can't live like this. I've lived in that building for 14 years. For the first 12 years of my time there, my rent was raised $50 a month per year. So I had every expectation, based on just past precedent, that that would be the case. I didn't even open the email last year that gave me my new lease renewal until it was like almost time to sign, because I expected it to be status quo. And, okay, last year I thought, right, we've come off the pandemic, they didn't charge for 1 year, they loved touting that, no one did. So if they're making up for some of that, or I was still under market value, I recognize all of this. But now, at what point does this stop? Can the council get involved in any way to cap this? I guess that's really my question. The conditions of the building and all of that are, a whole other issue. But my concern is the lack of any oversight into the rent leveling for Sacman at some of their buildings. And I fear that I'm going to be public enemy #1 now, because I kind of helped get this together, so now I worry. If there's no cap this year, what will they do for me next year? Because my name has been attached to this. So, do you have any feedback, any thoughts, any direction we can go? Robert?
Yes, Mr. Goodman, we obviously know Robert.
Well, no, I don't.
No, I mean, Robert, I know your voice is weak, so you're gonna have to use the microphone and answer that question. I'm sure there's gonna be other ones. And we asked Mr. Goodman to be here tonight, expecting to get these questions. And so he's the person in charge. So instead of me saying, I think it's this, I think it's that, we're gonna get it right.
Good evening, is it Anjapinti or?
Akapinti.
We've met once.
Yes, you're not Robert, you're Mr. Goodman.
You're very kind. Thank you. So, it is a very complicated issue. The reason the exemption was granted is that the state passed legislation back in the early, actually originally in the late 1980s, but was finally enacted in 1992, I believe, and then revised yet again to run almost in perpetuity the policy that if a developer comes in and creates net new housing, in other words, more housing that had previously existed, they are eligible for an exemption from rent control. And this was to encourage development of new housing, specifically with the idea of affordable housing in urban centers which had rent control. There was a provision in there that said that if rent control ordinances were enacted in a community where a developer had previously given developed net new housing, that they could, within 30 days of enactment of that ordinance, they could ask for a claim of exemption. The Sacman organization requested this for a total of 6 buildings. 2 were denied, 4 were granted. 2 were denied simply because all they did is just renovate the existing space with no new net housing dwelling units. There is very little that can be done. I think when at the time you and I had last spoken, they reported the news that New York had put a clause in their ordinance regarding rent leveling that would have created an unconscionable rent increase. Anything greater than 5%, would be a violation. So, if you saw how pitifully short and undefined this was, it was going to invite litigation. No one has, at this point, successfully ever been able to do something that would try to supersede state law regarding this exemption. As it stands today, there's nothing that the city can do to come up with a remedy The only option, as we had discussed, was to actually go through landlord-tenant court. And we know this is expensive, even if you're a low to moderate income tenant, even getting, applying for legal aid or from other nonprofits that may be able to represent your interests is very challenging. It's time consuming. It's emotionally draining for most people. So whether it's fair or not, it's clear that it's hard to work through. But under the current circumstances, the Sacramento organization does have the right to increase their rents without the governance of the local ordinance regarding that.
And so the council, the city itself can do nothing, there's nothing legally or morally at this point that they,
I think legally, there's nothing, we can't prevent them from doing it. I think, and this would be if Robert feels comfortable reaching out and maybe talking to them and seeing if we can get anywhere there. But from a legal point of view, well, the only reason I say that is you don't want to totally alienate the council if you're a developer in town.
sure.
So the idea would, maybe Robert could spend some time thinking through a way to reach out to Sacman and express what was expressed tonight. But from a legal point of view, and just so you know, we spent our 90 minutes in executive session with a rent control attorney trying to figure out how we captured not only Steinbeck, but all of the one-bedroom, single-family houses, two-bedrooms, all of these other units where very similar circumstances are happening, our rent control captures 3 units or more. And so the discussion from the rent control attorney took us through, do we have options in capturing some of these other units? Although that also wouldn't apply to you because the state says the Steinbeck buildings will not be covered under our rent control ordinance until another, you said 10 years, Robert, right?
That's correct.
But this could be considered an unconscionable raise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, one at a time, or else we're never going to get done. So if everybody wants to add and talk, just get up and get in line.
I think, Ms. Chapman, to your point, that's, I think, what most people's concern is, and, do we band together and do a landlord-tenant court situation? I don't know, but I'm hearing 32%. That's crazy, and a judge will recognize a raise that high as an unconscionable.
I don't know, and I hope they would. I don't know if we should be making that comment. I don't know if Robert would make that comment. I wish a judge would make it, because it is unconscionable.
It is.
I mean, there's no question about it, but again, like Robert said, to get to court and everything, I don't know what the process is. Is the city thing is totally wrong? Absolutely. Can we do anything legally? No. Can we support you? Other ways? Yes, by having Robert or anybody reach out to him. If the city attorney has any ideas, what you as a group or singly can do. I mean, I think all 5 of us are very supportive of the dilemma you're caught in and want to support it, but legally, like, the city can't sue and stop it. Because as Amy said, it's the state that has.
Granted the exemption.
Right, not the city is granted the exemption.
For a 30-year period.
The state. 30-year period.
Right, that's where my 10 years is coming from. The state granted the exemption for 30 years.
So the specifics around that is that anybody who receives this claims exemption, it is 30 years from the time that they receive their technical certificate of occupancy. In the case of the Sacman buildings, and it's in a series, but they're grouped together, they only have about 8 to, I believe, 10 years left. I can get down the specifics on each.
10 years at 32% is a lot of money. There's no raising hands, it's get in line and get the microphone. Yeah.
Okay,
I can make myself available if there are further questions.
We look like there's going to be many, so sit here.
Are you willing to speak on behalf of the, Mr. Goodman, from your position, and sort of let them know how many people showed up? This isn't, I was expecting maybe like 2 or 3 neighbors, this isn't, made this my heart sore with just the fact that we're all in this together. Is from your position, is that something you would do? And I know you'll probably get nowhere and fall on deaf ears, but can we You say that you'll make that connection.
The answer to your question, the only tools I have are professional collegiality with the staff at Sacramen's organization, moral suasion, and hopefully your prayers and support, and that something can happen. Like you said, I'm not sure if this would be effective. I understand the reasons as to why they're raising the rents. Personal opinion only, I think the rate at which they're doing it is drastic, maybe indicative of something else. But that's pure speculation, personal speculation on my part. Nonetheless, I am willing to reach out to the Sacrament organization, and I may be asking additional information from you and your fellow residents to help build that discussion into something meaningful.
And Joe, I'll also call Mr. Sackman myself, and I'll also express him
I
the,
should have said you, John.
that's okay, no, we're all in this together, doesn't matter.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, and again, I don't know that myself or Robert are gonna make any headway,
course.
as you're aware, but I think if we have the open lines of communication, there's people on the staff that do the appraisals that we both know intimately that we can speak to, and perhaps, you know, I don't know what your leases are and whatnot, but perhaps there's something we can do moving forward
I
that
think
would
people are
be.
willing to negotiate,
Yeah.
10%, that's more, you know,
Yeah, so
12%.
we'll express that to him,
Okay.
do the best that we can, keep in contact with Robert.
I was gonna say, how
Our
do
resident
you hear
expert.
anything going forward?
Yeah, I mean, what I can tell you is we're gonna talk. If I have some great news, we'll certainly reach out to you, but I don't, you know,
I know,
you never know though.
I know,
That's that.
that's why we're here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Donna, when you, if Donna first, then Robert, Mr. Goodman, when you have the discussion with Sacrament and Sacrament Enterprises, I think it'd be very strong that, you know, the entire council, all five of us,
Sure,
are
absolutely.
completely in agreement that this is nonsense that should be relooked at and would be appreciated. We know we can't force them to, but it is a moral issue. And,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah.
Hi, my name is Aubrey Hunt. I'm also a second resident. My husband and I have been there 13 years. In that time, you know, there's been a lot of damage and leaks. And we always were big supporters. You know, I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce. I have a local business. My main source of referrals is from first responders at the state level and the local level. And I'm a trauma therapist, and I've literally had to cut back on my hours because of these mysterious illnesses that I've been having. I had full blood work done, and it showed that there was an excessive amount of mold in my system. And some of these molds are neurotoxic. And so I've had a lot of trouble because it causes Parkinsonian-like symptoms, and the treatments are very expensive. And I just want to say that this has created so much disruption. You know, it's really hard to swallow the fact that your home might be making you ill. But we love this place and we don't want to leave, but we just feel like there's constant leaks. You know, they didn't come to fix the toilet and it flooded 2 floors. When they said that because they were too busy trying to get a CO upstairs, I have it all written in formal emails. They admitted to me today that they found more mold in another area of the apartment, which links to my home office. So, needless to say, I feel very sad that, like, I don't want to leave. I never wanted to cause a problem. We try to have them remediate it, and it's been falling on deaf ears. So, I don't know if there's an environmental aspect that can be approached here, because it's environmentally unsound. Where there's leaks, there's water, and you know, we've had a remediation 3 times, and it's still there. I understand it's in you know, a historical landmark. I lived in this area my entire life, but it just seems that they're not keeping the building up to livable standards. There is, as we speak, ceiling all over the outside of our apartment, just sitting there from last week. No attempt to clean it up or anything. It's sad. And like I said, I never ever wanted to push any buttons, but having your rent raised $800 a month in 2 years is insane. And because I haven't been able to work, I feel like I'm letting my patients down, and I feel like I can't trust the income anymore. And it's been a struggle, so, you know, that's all I say.
Thank you. Next.
I'm not ready. I promise. Hi, I'm Cheryl Skaggs. I live at Steinbach. I really appreciate you guys keeping the time to listen to us and our concerns, because like everyone said, they have fallen on deaf ears. And I appreciate you both offering to reach out to Zachman, but I think we all know that Zachman is a powerhouse. And myself as a social worker, and I advocate for my clients all the time. This time, I'm going to go above and beyond to advocate for myself. So with that saying, that the council supports us, if this were to gain immediate exposure, would the council support us?
Yeah, we're on APTV now, it's being taped, so anybody in Monmouth County, you can watch this, if it's on TV several times a week, and so we all went on record that we support it. So, absolutely, I mean, you got mine, I can't speak for all five, but you have my support 100%.
Because I think we may have to take it to another level at some point, if nothing can be resolved. Because it's immoral at this point. And probably on 2 occasions just in the past year, the building has almost blown up from natural gas leakage, which was pretty traumatizing in and of itself.
Yeah, so I'm gonna interject, I mean, if, you know, we've heard things, but if this is the series, you know, the local health department is Starting County Health Department, and I would highly recommend that you reach out to them. I will also reach out to the health officer tomorrow and advise him of the concerns that we're having at your building. But don't ever hesitate, like, if you have something, call the 911, call the health office. You know, our code department enforces code violations. We're not handling these like immediate life safety issues. So don't put yourself in a situation where life safety is critical. Okay? Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jessica Minor. I also live in Steinbach Building. It's kind of perfect that you brought up the health department. Just so we're going to really, I left you a message, Matthew from the health department, gave me their number to call directly. I live on the 4th floor where I only need a sample, there's black mold, and I can deal with health issues for a year. I can look at all these specialists and no one can call me to talk with me. So when I heard that there's black mold, I saw multiple units on my floor, black mold growing, and that Stockman is aware of, and they told them, oh, it's New Jersey. They came to my apartment finally, like, just stormed over there, demanded that they come to my apartment and leave, to look at the leak in my ceiling. I called the health department on the phone to have them to make sure they did everything right, because they just had painters, and I had no idea what they were putting, where we were trying to open my ceiling. And I had to tell the health department, my windows don't open when they asked me, do you have proper ventilation? He gave me your direct line, and I called you, and I left you a message, and I explained that there's possibly black mold, and there's no ventilation, there's no way to open my window, you didn't call me back.
So you haven't heard back from the health department?
The health department gave me Mr. Goodman's direct line. And
Whose direct line, I'm sorry?
Mr. Goodman,
So Mr. Goodman doesn't enforce black mold, that's the health
wait,
department.
you do code enforcement,
Yes, what's your name again?
Justine Reiner. So
Forgive
what?
me, I don't believe I've received any message, and I can check our phone logs.
All right.
It's not able to call me every day, but what did the 2 buildings that you failed, what improvements did you, did they make in our building, they didn't make in the 2 improvements? And the 2 buildings that you failed them to be able to raise the rent? Did you say they didn't raise, so there's 5 buildings that they applied for, correct?
6 overall.
Yeah, and it's the state that granted them the exemptions, not the city.
So the states and the other 2 did not qualify for,
The
to
exemption.
be out of record
Because of the improvements that they made.
because of the time frame.
Oh.
And the improvements.
And the time frame of improvements.
We'll follow the health department.
I understand, my name is Michael, and I've been here a few years now. I understand that the Sacramento is a business, and I believe it relates to your business. But when it comes to totalitarian real estate trust, Does it not somewhat come into some view of being like a Sherman antitrust, where they have all the stores, and they've taken all this property, and they, by control of it, if you want to be here, and we're in a building, and I know that I used to get 2-year leases. I don't want to fight, I think anything can be settled. I have a business, I don't sue anybody. I've always found that the only people that make money in suits are lawyers. But isn't there some way, or is there some law that does not allow for real estate trusts to, in a totalitarian way, I'm not saying by using physical force, but the force of their use of the law, because they're funded, are they allowed to buy the property and then take that property and say, well, we have it, if you want to be here, that's it. It's like to say, I've gone from, I think I went from $2,250 with my parking. It was maybe $2,400. Now I'm at $2,750. And I'm an older person. I'm probably the oldest person in the building. And I'd like to stay here. I've been here for years, but I'm not doing that. Is there any way this comes under the law of being a real estate monopoly? That's all I have to say. And can you help us look to see if there's any? I don't know what to do, and I don't want to talk just to talk. I'm just throwing something out there. I don't know if it means anything, probably doesn't. But I know that I'm getting stressed now about my property.
Thank you.
I don't feel comfortable divulging my full information on the
Sure.
retaliation, et cetera. I just want to speak on some of the moral maybe implications of the staffing situation from a tenant. Thank you guys for clearing up some of the legal, reasoning why. It's very confusing getting a Asbury Park newsletter that says 3.5% is the rent cap, just to see that our neighbors got at least somewhere between 15 and 20%. Their rent went out about $300. Means our yes, our building is definitely nothing special from the staffing side. Just want to say, obviously, the community that's here, a lot of us are here on short notice. This is not a very well promoted meeting. I don't believe outside of circles. The crowd can and should be a lot bigger for this. I just really want to speak on the fact that the city here, obviously, everyone here that's a transplant, for all of us who want to be here, this is a phenomenal gem of the city, maybe the most special place in New Jersey. I'm sure all of us feel that way, of all age groups, of all walks of life. If you guys look around, behind you, if you look anywhere on the streets here, obviously Asbury is known for its art, its culture, its music. The people that are responsible for making art, the culture, and music are not in the income bracket that are going to be affordable in only a couple of years. 10 years is much too long. So you're going to lose the art, the music, the culture in favor of, I'm not quite sure what you guys need, or what not you need, but what the goal is here to have the town populated. I don't want to generalize, but a huge chunk of what makes this place special, the draw of it. You can't promote the stone pony, you cannot promote the imagery that the town draws in for its tourism, just to say none of you are actually welcome here to the beginning. And I understand that after going through a huge revitalization, this is what comes with it, gentrification, and I'm privileged to be a transplant myself, to be living here. This doesn't even speak on the difficulties of the original native residents here that have absolutely been priced out much longer, I'm sure, than us. So, obviously I'm not here to talk about can we get more legal action, et cetera. I just need to know that, the very moral fabric of what this town represents to a lot of people. I think to everybody in this room, I think to you guys in the council, I think this is a special place, we all know it. That speciality is just going to be leaving at every single increase possible. And that 3.5% rent, thing that I read about, it just feels like jokes. It feels like absolute, just clown stuff. So I don't want to go on too long, but the city, I think, depends on the people that are being the most affected by this ridiculous rent increase with absolute impunity. And I don't know if you guys want to say that Asbury Park, we want to save the music, we want to have this conversation, we want to promote this place. Is what it is, we're going to need this income bracket of human beings to try to live here and be comfortable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy, hold up 1 second. No, you did fantastic, and you hit it on the head. I mean, you're right. We all up here want diversity also. We're tired of, not just the gentrification on the southwest side or other with people of color, but the gentrification of the bartenders, the waitresses, the everything. And again, in this situation, the decision was made by the state as far as like what can charge, and with the people selling their houses at ridiculous prices is driving local people out because people are just coming in, buying them, gutting them, and putting another $400,000 into it. And the fabric in Asbury Park and what made Asbury Park so special to all of us, you're absolutely right. It can't wait another 10 years. So we will do our best. There's nothing we can do legally, but we can somehow try to get more pressure otherwise. But thank you you're absolutely right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
There are other projects that are coming before us that bring some more affordable housing and garden workspace into the community. As someone who used to manage the Stone Pony in Fox Estate, the Stone Pony in the redevelopment area, I completely get what you're saying and absolutely agree.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy Rogers, 61011. First, the Migrant Basket Park Affordable Housing Coalition is the group that actually puts for the rent control. There are issues, we know, and I'm trying to fight on the state level to get that exemption from these buildings that have a 30-year exemption. And there is talk in the state, but it's also monumental. But I can understand where you're going. We've pushed for a lot of things, and that's why I came here tonight. I have to congratulate the city on a suit that we filed because of the mismanagement of the RCA. Right now, the city is working with the housing authority, and right now, Lincoln Village, a housing project that would have been demolished, would not be just demolished. We would rebuild before those people, and they're moving to another place. And the city has also approved 69 new affordable units that are going to be on that site for Lincoln Village. So I wanted to come here to thank the council for this monumental, because I just actually talked to Rutgers. We're one of the first cities not to get rid of a low-income housing project and actually effectively save it through the work of combining with the housing authority in the city to make sure we're getting something done. So right now, I'm every other day I'm on calls with the state, looking at different options. But if we band together, we can get with it.
get involved with the organization?
You can go on to we have a Facebook page, we're part of Affordable Housing Coalition, and you can sign up, send me your numbers, and I try to check it as much as possible. But we have to continue to keep this active. And I think with the inclusionary zoning that the council, that we helped the council push, I think we're almost up to some projects that we're going to be looking at least 100, 200 units that when they're built, am I right, Fred, projects that are going to be coming on board with some affordable units coming on. So, it's a struggle. The game's not over, but we have to continue. The last thing I want to talk about, I didn't know certain things were on the leveling board. I do want to push that the city actually looks at covering single units and 2-family units. I think that's a preference that we want. But also, I was at the court hearing, interested party, local preference for these units. I think it was council would look to add local preference. So people from Asbury Park get the first opportunity for these apartments coming up would be at them. Jersey City and Newark have that ordinance. I believe we should be joining in to create local preference for these affordable units that are coming on. So thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. I know at times we did always agree in the past couple of years on this issue. We're finally close to the finish line. And you've been a help. And just one thing I want to throw out there. When Tracy said because of the mismanagement by the city, that was decades ago. It wasn't us that made it up. I don't want anybody new here to think, oh, these knuckleheads like screwed this up. No, we didn't. Okay, thank you.
So Lisa Logan, Director for the Asbury Park Chamber of Commerce. First, Jay, I completely agree with what you said about Asbury maybe being the most special place in New Jersey. And also, John, to your point, I worked on Kirkland's in the 80s, and it's a completely different atmosphere now. And people, they come here, they stay here, they love it here. I found out that they had her own business here in 1969, opened up a business here. The atmosphere that we have here, I think, is due in large part to you guys and how receptive and how interactive you are with the community and trying to make sure that things move productively in a manner that helps support everybody, which none of us are looking here to talk about, by the way. I just wanted to put my 2 cents in there. I wanted to talk about a couple of things, mostly they're weather related. It's not your fault, so I don't have to complain on weather. One is the week after my festival, that I'll get back to that in a minute, there was that might have been the most flooding I've seen here in I don't know how long. And I really have to commend Julianne Murray. She coordinated with FEMA to see if there's any way that our businesses can qualify for some support. And I'm guessing also residential, but my purview was in the business arena. And we tried to help promote that as well. And I think that would have been my most opened email blast since COVID started. I mean, she really did a magnificent job. And again, I know I've said this before, she's an excellent client, so thank you for that. I did reach out to a friend at the NJEDA to see if there's anything they can do there as well, and I'll get back to you if I find anything from them. Prior to that, the week before was my disaster of the festival. I want to thank you guys all for reaching out about it. Asbury Fest is our biggest event of the year, and it's how we support all of the nonprofits and the business community, how we do the things that we do. And I think it occurred to me this year, maybe we should stop doing it in hurricane season. So I'm going to pull out my application for next year, Alicia, and put in one. We got the announcement yesterday that North Shore is happening starting June 10th that week. And the weekend before, I think, is still open. So I'm gonna try to hold Asbury Fest that weekend. I think maybe, at least if it rains, it's not gonna be so cold. Maybe start light longer, but I just want to thank you guys all, and the police, fire, EMT, and especially my DPW guys, absolutely magnificent. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay,
Every weekend, so we have rain every weekend.
Ours is every year, but Yvonne, the community event, my heart was breaking for you when we had zombie walk last week. At least we got that in. I felt horribly for you.
And Sylvia, can you let the businesses know, we met with the Army Corps of Engineers and Congressman Coleman's office, and this coming Tuesday at our Wesley Lake Commission meeting, the Army Corps of Engineers will be here in the council chamber to talk about some of the flooding issues and what they likely would be doing moving forward. So if any businesses were impacted, we'd like to attend here Tuesday night at 7 o'clock.
Okay, thanks so much. That's fantastic.
1 second before we go ahead, I just wanted to, bad news. With this storm, we kept records of everything, just we were hoping for FEMA reimbursement. We found out today there's going to be no FEMA reimbursement because to get FEMA reimbursement, you need at least $25 million throughout the state to get it to the federal level. The state, I think Monmouth County was the only county that put in anything whatsoever. I think they put in, the numbers could be wrong, but I just got late this afternoon. The county put in a total of $6 million. The city was over $3 million of that 6. Where, again, Julianne did a great job, OEM Director Iverson did a great job. During the storm itself, the police, fire, DPW did a good job. That was the worst rain I've seen since 2005. And people say Lake Avenue. I said, well, why do you think they call it Lake Avenue? I worked with DPW for 31 years, and many times we would lose Lake Avenue all the way up to Emery Street. This is only the second time in my life, and I've been around Asbury a long time, that I see it go all the way to Bond Street. can't get past Bond Street, he's got a sharp in car, going from Bond to Main. If they ever went to Main Street, like, we'd never recover. So, again, Eileen is the chairperson of this ad hoc committee, Palone is chief of staff were there. They were in touch with us during the storm, like what's going on, what's happening, what to do. We need federal help. So we're looking at it, unfortunately, like the Army Corps of Engineers said, well, the study's going to take 2 years. So again, as much as like your guys in 10 years, we told the Army Corps of Engineers 2 years to even do a study. So it's not great news, but again, I got to give our staff credit that we did apply for the money. But we're not going to get it, but we'll keep on applying. So thank you.
Elizabeth now, also signed up. So I think we can all agree that Sacramento is really both unconscionable and unreasonable. So my question to you is, what is the resident? I know it's something that I have asked in the past, and they have not given it to me. They're not making repairs as we talked about. Is it square footage? It seems to us like it's just arbitrary. Can we, at minimum, understand what the increases are for, what we can expect moving forward?
So most real estate operators work off a principle of profit that is based on what's known as the net capital rate of return. And what that is a rate of return expressed as a percentage that is above and beyond all net operating expenses and taxes. Multifamily operators over the last several years have experienced a great deal of stress in their own operations because they never factored in a pandemic or government prescribed, lockdown on forgiveness of rent or suspension of having to pay rent, and that they couldn't evict people who, clearly weren't working. Get thrown out on the street. Nonetheless, they're still looking to get the net rate of return they had gotten before a lot of this happened. And it's just a supposition on my own experience. I've worked in commercial real estate for a number of years as a consultant. I can tell you that sometimes when you see these drastic paces of increase, it's sometimes to make the property look more attractive for sale. I don't know that for sure. That's only speculation on my part. As to your question as to whether you're entitled to that information, it's considered proprietary business trade information. You're not obligated or required to disclose it to you. They do provide information so that uses different methodologies for determining the value of the property. One of those are income-based. I am unsure as to whether that information would be available because, again, under most Oprah requests, we're restricted from sharing proprietary business and trade information. Did I answer your question?
You did, thank you.
Hi, also a member of the cohort here from the center. So a question about
your name,
using Josephine. So a question about
Last
parking, Scatina.
Thank you.
Parking. So Sacramento has a private lot that we are entitled to a spot in to pay for at whatever amount he wants to charge. So we can't get a parking permit from the city, that's $90 a year or whatever it may be, because of the zone we're in and because the owner of our building allows us to pay him for a spot in the lot that he can provide 2 blocks from our building. Also, I can't get a permit in the Bangs apartment lot for $75, which is half the price, because I'm told again, there's some ordinance or law within the city that if Sacman has a parking lot that he can offer to you for whatever cost he wishes to charge, that we can't get any other parking in town. Is that correct? Or is it? No. I mean, I don't know about everybody else. So we only get a permit that's $100 a year. We can't, it's parked, we pay $75 for the bag of their lot. We have to pay whatever Sacman wants to charge. A month.
Right.
If they have a parking space, the ordinance prevents them unless they have 2 cars. And they keep a parking.
Right. But they I think what she's saying is she doesn't have a parking space unless she pays for it.
But I'm not familiar with redevelopment, that's probably what the redevelopment.
No, I mean, I don't have the ordinance.
raised it from 75.
Can we get you that answer? Can we get you that answer?
I'm sorry? Yeah, so the parking ordinance, as this city starts to develop, there's probably some language that can be modified. I don't know when the parking ordinance went into place, how long it's been here, but now that there's a lot more development in the city and parking is at a premium, obviously that's why developers that have access to these lots are charging these rates. And I think that's something that the city council will look into, and I'll have my staff pull some information out as well.
Yeah, because I was told, because I live in a Sacramento property, I cannot get a spot in that parking garage that's half price. Or a parking permit that's
Yeah,
$90
I'm not
a
sure,
year.
and I'm not sure where, and I'll have to talk to my planner, because I'm not familiar with this specifically, but a part of a developer's agreement requires them to have parking. I would assume there would be some limit as to what, like, you have to, so let's say you move into a new building, you have to park in your space, but they're gonna charge you $100 a month to park there, then you're not parking in that space, so we have to look at that. I think that's one of the challenges of our existing ordinance that we have to look at.
So who do we contact for feedback or a resolution?
So if you want to just give your information to our clerk, I'll have my planner, Michelle Alonso, reach out to you.
Thank you very much, because that's another thing that
Yeah, and actually-
he doubled without any.
Keep James Banana.
Yeah, you know what, I'll just give you my card and I'll distribute it to my staff, I'll be easier.
Thank you.
Sure.
I have a white robe in case it happens.
Just remind me what you spoke about, because
I'll put it in an email. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Justin Freed. I've lived in town for about 7 years. Much of what I'm going to say might eventually be subject to an official complaint before the Rent Control Board. But I just want to paint a picture for how the Rent Control Ordinance is managed by Mr. Is it Goodman? That's correct. So my landlord is a property management company, and they tried to increase my rent by over 3.5% late last year. And they didn't follow many of the stipulations in the ordinance. And I brought that to the attention of Mr. Goodman and his office, and they, besides not being helpful, in the course of my doing that, I ended up carbon copying the landlord on communication which I thought should have been private between just the two of us. And I asked him not to do that, and even after asking him not to do that, he did it again. And the landlord is a property management company, so certainly they should be privy to the rules in Asbury. And even after attempting to illegally raise the rent, they did so again within the confines of the ordinance, but the ordinance also has a clause in it that says that you can only attempt to make any type of increase once a year to prevent people from fishing to attempt to circumvent the ordinance. So at this stage, I guess my question is, are you allowed to, after you, is a landlord allowed to attempt to raise the rent illegally and then immediately raise it within the 3.5% amount?
The ordinance states that they are allowed to raise the rent once every 12 months with sufficient notice as specified in the lease, and it can be no more than 3.5% in that 12-month period.
Isn't there also a portion of the ordinance that says that they may only request or raise the rent that amount?
I'm not sure what you're saying, forgive me.
In other words, once they make a request that's over the amount, that they can block themselves from making any other type of rental or increase request for a calendar year. Otherwise, you're incentivizing landlords to take advantage of tenants who don't know about the ordinance.
Understood. So, Mr. Freed, stating honestly, there's a difference between, your version of the, what happened, as well as the property manager, as well as my staff and I. Nonetheless, I think you're referring to the fact that when the rent was registered in the prior year, it had one amount, and they were basing the increase in the following year based on that amount.
That's also not fair characterization at all. That's not. Okay,
No,
sorry.
just,
Time's up, Rob.
let me just quickly answer. So when we discovered that, that it was based on that amount, and we also pointed out to the property manager that what they filed in the original year was an error, they readjusted it and corrected it and applied to what should have been under the ordinance, a 3.5% increase.
That's a very strange accident for them to have made, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah,
Do you have any personal or business relationship with that management company?
absolutely none, sir.
Okay.
Okay, I was, Fred, can you please?
Well, at this point, I think, the speaker's time is up, and, Mr. Goodman is graciously answering questions, but it's not, we're not.
Thank you for your time.
Here, so please, I think I provided as much information.
Hi, my name is Todd. I just want to go on the record and give a previous speaker just voiced my concern about parking. I'm a resident of 313 Bond Street. I'm another Stackman property. I've been here for 10 years. I lived in this Steinbeck building for about 5.5 and moved to the new property. My issue is again with parking. Second, it's a 2-level parking lot we have in that building. Lower level, which is you can enter it from Bond, and upper level you can enter it from Banks Avenue. If you park on Bond Street, it's $150 a month. And if you want to park on the premium side, which is Banks, which isn't a one-way, it's $175 a month. My wife and I, we have 2 vehicles, and so we pay $150 a month, and then I pay for street parking. But again, every year, Staffing keeps raising it. The Steinbeck tenants, they have a parking lot, which is covered, you have to shovel out, and again, it's $150. And I remember when I moved here early on, it was $75. It's still expensive, but reasonable. When I was $150, and now I'm hearing from new tenants that Stackman is going to raise it much more. It's going to go to 200 plus because, again, there's a parking issue. So I just want to go on record and just follow the point that we're not in New York City. If I wanted to live in Hoboken, go into the city, it makes sense. But it hurts that you have to pay on top of the rent that's being exponentially raised. I have to pay $200 plus. If I have 2 vehicles, I have to pay $300 on top of my rent just to park here. And then that doesn't include friends, family, who I want people to visit this town. So I just want to go on record and just follow my displeasure with Stackman just being raised parking for no reason. I'm sure a bunch of Stackman residents, all of us are just upset about it. And then the new building that's going up, and friends in 550 Cookman, their parking space is getting removed. I believe that's on Summerfield from the new projects. You have to park in the new Lake Ave, and that's over $200. So I just want to go on record and just let's try to figure something out, because I've gone to the parking authority, and they I've gone to the parking authority and raised my concern. We have 2 vehicles, and I'm also a state government worker, and I have a state vehicle, and I don't know where to park that thing. Unfortunately, I don't pay for that vehicle. My name's not on it, and they've requested me to. I need a certified letter signed by Stackman, a certified letter signed from the state of New Jersey. I mean, I have to jump through hoops in order to get a letter so I can pay you guys $90 to park on the street, or $75 to park on the street. So I just want to voice my displeasure about that.
Yeah, let me just say, and I could be completely wrong with what I'm saying, but the way I understand the ordinance is you're right. You have 2 cars, you got to park one at the site, and you can get a parking permit for the second car.
No.
No?
Let's.
Okay.
Correct.
Why don't we just
Correct.
ask?
No, correct, yes, sir.
So
I have
that's
to pay
correct.
$150.
Yeah.
Right. So you
And then I'm eligible to park, if I can get a permit from the town to park on the street, correct, yes, sir.
Right, okay, and then, just out of curiosity, maybe it's a long shot, if the state has put the building on Madison and Banks, and it's empty 90% of the time, the state garage is owned by the state, and they have so many extra spots in there, If you're driving a state vehicle.
Yes, sir, that's patrolled by the parking authority of Asbury Park. So I'm a state worker.
But you're a state worker, and the parking garage is owned by the state, so you might want to reach out to them to see if you can park there.
100%, but it's enforced by the parking authority of Asbury Park.
But if the state, this.
Right, I understand.
The state says, and I'm just making up numbers, the state says, John, we have 450 spots. 250 of them are dedicated to the state, 200 of them you can rent. So I'm making these numbers up, I'm going to be fairly close. So there's 250 state parking spots that the city cannot touch. The parking regulation cannot give you a ticket or anything. I'm just suggesting maybe you reach out to the state.
Okay. No, I will. Again, I don't want to overreach and step on your toes there. But the issue is, my main concern is just being a resident, my main concern is just Sack and Carter and his team just charging whatever you want for us to park. That's the main issue. I could care less if a state will take it.
I totally, we agree with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to close. Second. All in favor? Aye. Public participation portion is now closed.
So quick question before we go on with the agenda, I just got to ask you because I'm curious. So people with mold call the county, people with code enforcement call Mr. Goodman.
Correct.
Everybody got that?
Robert works closely with the health department, so if you certainly call Robert, he can make the claim.
No, but if there's problems at any one of Mr. Sackman's or any one of Mr. Ward's buildings or any one of Mr. Quinn's buildings, dealing with
If
code.
only I owned buildings.
Dealing with code, Mr. Goodman and code, mold, stuff like that. Health department, you do not get a response from the health department. Don't wait a month, let the city manager know, let me know, we'll reach out to the health department, because they're not doing this for free. We're paying the city, paying the county a good buck to be our health department. So if they're not following through, let us know. Don't wait 2 weeks for a council meeting. We can't take it, we shut it. Yeah, we shut the public portion.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just provide a little clarification to some of what was shared this evening. They do usually end up contacting the mold as a result of condensation. Condensation usually results in water damage, which the code enforcement does respond to. We've actually been working with this hunt to inspect her property and assess that damage and ask Sackman to make those repairs. But we have reached indication that if there is a mold problem, we are in dialogue with Monmouth County Health, and they're aware of the issue, specifically in this Huntington building.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. And I assume it goes without saying, so everybody's emailing Sackman, right? You're not. Okay.
Also,
Yeah, but you should be on an email, like, it's numbers that are
No hot water for like the 8th time this year. You know, that's like the most important thing. Yeah, no hot water again. And they said they fixed those Saturday. But I got home, they're still there.
Gotcha. This needs to be voted like it's
Thank you. We're now on to the minutes. We have the executive meeting minutes, special meeting minutes, September 25th, the executive meeting, regular meeting minutes, September 27th, the executive meeting minutes, special meeting minutes of October 5th. Do I have a motion? Councilmember Bezan? Yes. Councilmember Chapman? Yes. Councilmember Clayton? Yes. Mayor Quinn? Yes. Mayor Wilson?
Yes.
We're now on the consent agenda resolutions. All matters listed on the consent agenda are presented collectively to the city council and will be considered for approval with one vote. These matters are considered to be routine in nature and there will be no individual discussion of these items. If discussion is desired by one or more council members as to any particular item, then said item should be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. On the consent agenda tonight, we have resolutions 2023-461 through 2023-463, or 2023-462 has been removed from tonight's agenda. Do I have a motion for consent? Move it. Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes.
We're now on to individual resolutions. I have resolution 2023-464, resolution approving payment of bills.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
No.
Resolution 2023-465, resolution authorizing the extension of solid waste collection services through December 31st, 2024.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-466, resolution authorizing payment to fulfill food bank for the purchase of foods for the city's emergency food assistance program through the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, CD CARES Act funds.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-467, resolution awarding the contract to Millennium Communications Group for camera enclosure replacements needed at Convention Hall.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-468, resolution authorizing the professional services contract to Key Tech Associates for testing and inspections of the new fire department headquarters.
Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
No.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
No.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-469, resolution authorizing the professional services contract with T&M Associates for professional engineering services with the Asbury Avenue Bikeway Improvement.
Move it.
Mayor,
I'm sorry.
thank you. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-470, resolution approving change order number 1 for Kennedy Park Improvement Project.
Move it. Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
What number are we on?
We're on resolution 2023-470, resolution approving change order number 1 for Kennedy Park Improvement.
$0. Yes, 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 yes,
Thank
sorry.
you. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-471, resolution approving change order number 1 for fire department headquarters.
Ready?
Move it.
Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
No.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
No.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-472, resolution approving change order number 7 for Memorial Drive Improvement Project.
Move it.
Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-473, resolution approving change order number 8 for Bond Street Improvements Project.
Move it.
Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-474, resolution authorizing an accelerated electronic tax sale administered by RealAuction.com LLC.
Move it.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
No.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-475, resolution authorizing the disposition of surplus property.
Move it.
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-476, resolution authorizing the utilization of project waste, Resolution 2023-476 has been removed from tonight's agenda. Now on to resolution 2023-476.
Is it remove the table?
I have moved it.
If language changes in it, does that matter?
Put it back on, put it back on the agenda. Read it, put it back on.
Resolution 2023-476, resolution authorizing the utilization of project labor agreements on a project-by-project basis for public works projects undertaken by the city involving costs in excess of $5 million. I understand there's a motion to table. Someone wish to table?
Move to table.
Second.
Indicate why we're not being tabled?
I'm not in agreement.
Cody,
Oh.
or is it why it's being tabled?
Well, I think
take a roll call vote to table to the October 25th meeting. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
To table?
To table. Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
No.
Resolution,
Does anyone want to say why we're tabling?
Yeah, I'd like to
I
know.
mean,
Why are we tabling it?
Tabling because there's still questions about it, and there's questions about local labor, and also there will be some changes in the language.
You know what? I didn't catch the birthday.
Changes in the language that's in the resolution.
And just for the record, that there was someone here to speak to council and mayor and answer any questions. I do believe you were present at that time. You were going to ask whatever
There were
questions.
questions asked of other people other than that gentleman. There are other legal questions for contractors.
I don't know who else was there. Plus, you had been given information prior to his appearance at the meeting, so that I had given to you. Also, you were able to ask our attorney questions, so.
well, it's been moved to table. So I have one technical question, Fred. If language in this were to change, does it matter if it's tabled, or would we have to reintroduce?
Makes no difference.
We can change language in
Change the
this.
language.
Okay.
It's just a resolution, it's not
Right,
a
right.
ordinance. It's not a
Right, where
ordinance.
there's a
It's
substantial
resolution.
change, and then that messes everything up. Okay. Got it.
It's not limited to this form, it can come back with changes at the next meeting.
Okay.
It can be totally different.
Okay, so move to table. So we table. Wonderful.
Resolution 2023-477, resolution adopting a permanent marketing plan for the city of Asbury Park. I understand there's a motion, I understand there's, we'd like to table this as well, so may I have a motion?
Move to table.
So resolution 2023-477 is tabled to the October 25th meeting. We do a roll call vote. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-477 has been tabled to the October 25th meeting. Resolution 2023-478, resolution endorsing the third round housing plan element fair share plan, authorizing the recognition of the plans to the Superior Court Law Division.
That's not what I want tabled.
No, we took care of it.
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Deputy Mayor Quinn, resolution 2023.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-479, resolution requesting Superior Court approval of the 2023 spending plan.
Second?
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2023-480, resolution awarding the contract to Robco Supply LLC for snow fencing on the beach.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
And Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're now to ordinances for introduction. I have ordinance 2023-30. Ordinance of the City of Asbury Park and the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, providing for special assessment of the cost of certain wastewater, stormwater, roadway, streetscape, utility, and other infrastructure improvements on Block 4105, lots 1 and 4, and a portion of Block 4105, Lot 3, to be known as Block 4105, Lot 1, following the completion of the subdivision within the Asbury Park waterfront redevelopment area, and establishing a mechanism for payment of the cost thereof. The public hearing date of October 25th, 2023. Resolution.
Move it.
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Abstain.
Okay, we're now on to ordinance 2023-31. Ordinance of the City of Asbury Park authorizing the execution of a financial agreement with Somerset Asbury Park Urban Renewal LLC, granting a tax exemption with a public hearing date of October 25th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Second. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
No.
Councilmember Chapman.
Yes.
Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
No.
If no one has anything else, I'll take motion to adjourn. Move it. All in favor? Meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.